Mr. Belvedere once made millions of viewers laugh with its warm family story and its unforgettable English butler. But behind that humor lies something far darker. Some of the cast vanished from Hollywood completely, others suffered devastating personal losses, and a few were struck by life-changing illnesses. Keep watching, because what really happened will shock you. Christopher Hewett as Mr. Lynn Aloysius Belvedere. Christopher Hewett was born on April 5, 1922, in Worthing, Sussex, England. At 64 years old, he played Lynn Aloysius Belvedere, the sharp, elegant, and highly disciplined English butler in Mr. Belvedere. His performance gave the series its calm center, turning the character into a figure of authority and quiet emotion that audiences instantly remembered. Behind that composed image, Hewett lived a life almost entirely devoted to performance. He never married and had no children, choosing instead to build his world around the stage. This dedication shaped a long career in theater, including major Broadway productions like My Fair Lady and The Unsinkable Molly Brown, as well as directing stage works such as Camelot, which strengthened his reputation as a respected theater professional. That same discipline came with increasing isolation over time. While his career remained steady through film and television appearances like The Producers, 1967, and Fantasy Island, his private life grew quieter. In his later years, he struggled with diabetes and arthritis, conditions that slowly weakened his health but never erased his professional identity or his dignified public presence. Christopher Hewett passed away on August 3, 2001, in Los Angeles at the age of 80 due to complications from diabetes and a stroke. His memorial was held at St. Victor's Church in West Hollywood, where he had spent much of his later life. He left behind an estimated net worth of around $2 million and a legacy built on decades of stage and screen work, with Mr. Belvedere standing as his most enduring role. Bob Uecker as George Owens. Robert George Uecker was born on January 26, 1934, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, USA. At 51 years old in 1985, he played George Owens, the humorous and grounded father in Mr. Belvedere. His natural comedic style made the character feel authentic, giving the show a strong sense of everyday family life. Before acting, Uecker built a career in professional baseball and later became a legendary broadcaster for the Milwaukee Brewers. This transition shaped his public identity, and his work on television, including sitcom appearances and sports commentary, made him a familiar face across American entertainment. His real-life humor blended naturally with roles that relied on timing and personality. However, behind the humor, his personal life included emotional and physical challenges. He went through 2 marriages with Joyce Uecker and later Judy Uecker and experienced family losses that affected him deeply. At the same time, he continued working steadily, balancing acting projects with decades of broadcasting success, including his iconic presence in baseball media and his film appearances in sports comedies. Bob Uecker passed away on January 16, 2025, at his home in Menomonee Falls, Wisconsin, at the age of 90 after battling small cell lung cancer. He left behind an estimated net worth of around $10 million. Alongside Mr. Belvedere, his legacy was strengthened by Major League, 1989, and his Hall of Fame broadcasting career, making him one of the most recognizable sports entertainment figures in American history. Eileen Graff as Marcia Cameron Owens. Eileen Graff was born on February 28, 1949, in Brooklyn, New York, USA. At 36 years old, she played Marcia Cameron Owens, the warm, supportive, and emotionally grounded wife of George Owens in Mr. Belvedere. Her presence brought balance to the family dynamic, and her performance gave the sitcom a softer emotional layer that connected directly with audiences. Behind that gentle screen image, Graff's life was deeply shaped by a long commitment to both music and performance. She came from a musical family and built her career through Broadway, where discipline and emotional expression defined her stage identity. Over the years, she appeared in numerous television productions, steadily building a reputation as a reliable and versatile actress, even when success came without constant spotlight attention. That stability in her career was mirrored in her personal life, where she shared a long marriage with composer Ben Lanzarone. Their relationship lasted for decades and became a central emotional foundation in her life. But that foundation was shaken when Lanzarone passed away from lung cancer in early 2024, leaving Graff to face a deep emotional void after nearly half a century together, while still maintaining her connection to performance and public appearances. She continues to be remembered for her role in Mr. Belvedere as well as her extensive Broadway and television career, including appearances in productions like Grease and various TV guest roles. She holds an estimated net worth of around $1.5 million USD, and today she lives with the quiet resilience of an artist who has transformed personal loss into enduring strength and legacy. Rob Stone as Kevin Owens. Rob Stone was born on September 22, 1962, in Dallas, Texas, USA. At 23 years old, he played Kevin Owens, the intelligent and thoughtful eldest son in Mr. Belvedere. His role brought a sense of realism to the family, reflecting the challenges of growing up while balancing humor and emotional maturity within the show's structure. Behind his early acting success, Rob Stone grew up in a highly educated family environment with strong academic expectations from his parents. His father worked in the medical field, which influenced Stone's disciplined upbringing and early exposure to achievement. However, entering the entertainment industry at a young age also created a tension between academic expectations and the unpredictable nature of acting. During this period, he appeared in television projects such as The Facts of Life and 21 Jump Street, which further reinforced his teenage screen image. As he entered adulthood, Rob Stone built a stable personal life and eventually married Melissa Chan Stone. His marriage became a grounding force as he gradually stepped away from on-screen acting. While he remained connected to the industry, his focus shifted more toward long-term creative work rather than public-facing roles, choosing stability over continued fame in front of the camera. Alongside his transition behind the scenes, Stone has also been active in documentary production work that demonstrates his continued creative direction. Recently, he participated in film and media collaborations involving commercial and documentary storytelling, including digital and promotional content work connected to major entertainment projects. These works reflect his steady shift into production, writing, and visual storytelling rather than acting. He also founded Vienna Productions and built a career as a documentary filmmaker, working on projects such as Blue Angels, Around the World at the Speed of Sound, and One Vision, which featured interviews with major directors like Martin Scorsese and Quentin Tarantino. His transition reflected a creative escape from acting limitations into a broader cinematic vision. Rob Stone is 64 years old in 2026 and continues to work in film production and documentary storytelling. With an estimated net worth of around $3 million US, his legacy today is defined not only by Mr. Belvedere, but also by his evolution from child actor to respected filmmaker, working far beyond the image that once defined him. Tracy Wells as Heather Owens. Tracy Wells was born on March 13, 1971, in Encino, California, USA. At 14 years old, she played Heather Owens, the sweet, intelligent teenage daughter in Mr. Belvedere. Her performance added innocence and emotional warmth to the Owens family, helping the show connect strongly with younger audiences and balance its family-centered storytelling. As the series continued, Wells quickly became one of the most recognizable young faces on television. However, stepping into fame at such a young age also meant growing up under constant pressure. While she earned recognition, including a Young Artist Award, the transition from child star to adult actress proved difficult, and her career slowly began to shift away from Hollywood as she searched for a more stable personal life outside the spotlight. Her personal journey was also marked by emotional challenges in relationships. She married Aaron Cook in 1995 and later faced the tragedy of his passing in 2001, a loss that deeply affected her and pushed her further toward a quieter, more private lifestyle. Over time, she gradually stepped away from acting and focused on raising her children and rebuilding life away from public attention, while still occasionally appearing in smaller screen roles such as Growing Pains and TV films like Mirror, Mirror 2, Raven Dance. Tracy Wells is 55 years old in 2026 and is now known professionally as Tracy Toft. She works as a real estate agent with Keller Williams Advisors in Brentwood, California. With an estimated net worth of around $1 million, she represents a familiar story of many former child actors, choosing stability and family over fame after early success in Hollywood. Bryce Beckham as Wesley T. Owens. Bryce Beckham was born on February 11, 1976, in Long Beach, California, USA. At 9 years old, he played Wesley T. Owens, the mischievous and energetic youngest child in Mr. Belvedere. His character brought humor and unpredictability to the Owens family, often driving some of the show's most memorable and lighthearted moments. As the series ended, Beckham faced the difficult reality of growing up as a child star in Hollywood. While he continued to act in smaller television roles, the strong identification with his childhood character made it difficult for him to transition into adult acting opportunities. Instead of disappearing from entertainment, he gradually shifted toward creative work behind the camera, exploring writing, production, and performance in new ways. That transition became an important turning point in his life, as he began building a career outside acting pressure. He co-created projects such as I Hate My 30s and later worked in writing and production, while also being involved in theater groups and voice work. However, like many former child actors, he has spoken about the emotional cost of early fame, including losing parts of a normal childhood and facing expectations to live up to his early success. Bryce Beckham is 50 years old in 2026 and lives in Los Angeles, where he continues working in writing, production, and creative development. With an estimated net worth of around $1.2 million, his career reflects a long evolution from child actor to behind-the-scenes storyteller, shaped by both early fame and the challenge of redefining identity after Mr. Belvedere. Michelle Matheson as Angela Shostakovich. Michelle Matheson was born on August 14, 1971, in Los Angeles County, California, USA. At 14 years old, she played Angela Shostakovich, a teenage schoolgirl and friend of the Owens family's children in Mr. Belvedere. Her presence added a softer, more sensitive teenage perspective to the series, helping expand the emotional world of the Owens family beyond the main household dynamics. Behind that early screen presence, Michelle grew up under the strong influence of a Hollywood acting family. She is the daughter of actors Don Matheson and Deanna Lund, which placed her in an environment where performance was both a legacy and an expectation. Growing up in that shadow meant she was constantly surrounded by the idea that success in acting was almost predetermined, but also that it came with pressure, comparison, and limited personal freedom in choosing her own path. As she entered adulthood, Michelle also faced changes in her personal life, including marriage to actor and filmmaker John Doe, and later a second marriage to David Reynolds, while trying to define herself outside of her family's acting legacy. Over time, she stepped away from mainstream Hollywood roles, and although she appeared in projects like Threesome, 1994, and Howling 6, The Freaks, her focus gradually shifted away from acting as she searched for emotional and creative independence. Later in life, Michelle also experienced health and emotional strain connected to the pressures of early fame and family expectations. Instead of staying in front of the camera, she turned toward music and writing as a more personal form of expression. She became a musician and keyboardist, and eventually wrote the autobiographical novel Saving Angelfish in 2006, using creativity as a way to process her life experiences. Michelle Matheson is 55 years old in 2026 and currently lives a quiet life away from Hollywood spotlight. She holds an estimated net worth of around $500,000. Today, she is remembered not only for her role in Mr. Belvedere, but also for her transition from child actress to writer and musician, choosing creativity on her own terms rather than continuing the pressure of early fame. Willie Garson, as Carl Willie Garson, was born on February 20th, 1964, in Highland Park, New Jersey, USA. At 22 years old, he played Carl, a small but memorable supporting character in Mr. Belvedere. Even in a limited role, his natural comedic timing and expressive acting style helped him stand out, marking the early stage of a career that would later become one of the most prolific in television. As his career developed, Garson built an extraordinary resume in both film and television, appearing in over 75 films and hundreds of TV episodes. He became widely recognized for his role as Stanford Blatch in Sex and the City, and later as Mozzie in White Collar. These roles defined his career identity far beyond his early sitcom appearances, showing his ability to shift between comedy, drama, and character-driven storytelling with ease. Behind his success, Garson lived a deeply private and emotionally grounded personal life. He adopted his son Nathan in 2009, becoming a single father who prioritized family above everything else. While he often played witty and expressive characters on screen, in real life he was known as a devoted parent and a private individual who kept personal struggles away from public attention. Willie Garson passed away on September 21st, 2021, at his home in Los Angeles at the age of 57 after battling pancreatic cancer. His illness had been kept mostly private, making his passing a shock to many colleagues and fans. He left behind an estimated net worth of around $5 million and a legacy built across iconic projects like Sex and the City, White Collar, and Mr. Belvedere, where even his early appearances hinted at the remarkable career that would follow. Norman Bartold, as Skip Hollings. Norman Bartold was born on August 6, 1928, in Berkeley, California, USA. At 57 years old, he played Skip Hollings, a supporting adult character in Mr. Belvedere, who added realism and grounding to the show's wider community world. Even in a smaller role, his calm and experienced presence helped strengthen the sitcom's sense of everyday life beyond the main family. Before reaching television audiences in the 1980s, Bartold had already built a steady career as a character actor across film and TV. His performances in major productions like Westworld, 1973, and Close Encounters of the Third Kind, 1977, showed his ability to blend naturally into large ensemble casts, often portraying grounded, realistic figures that supported the main narrative without overpowering it. His personal life was marked by 2 marriages, first with Sheila Bartold and later with Mary Virginia Bartold, and he also served in the military as a corporal with experience in Korea. This background gave him a disciplined, structured approach to work, but like many working actors of his generation, he remained largely outside the spotlight, focusing more on steady roles than celebrity recognition. That quiet professional path defined much of his identity in Hollywood. Norman Bartold passed away on May 28, 1994, in Rancho Mirage, California, at the age of 65 after facing age-related health complications. His passing came only a few years after his television appearances, closing a career built on consistent supporting work across film and television. He left behind an estimated net worth of around $800,000 and a legacy as a reliable character actor whose presence quietly supported many productions, including Mr. Belvedere, without ever needing the spotlight to define him. Rosemary Forsythe as Louise Marie Gilbert. Rosemary Forsythe was born on July 6, 1943, in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. At 42 years old, she played Louise Marie Gilbert, a female friend and adult acquaintance within the Owens family's social circle in Mr. Belvedere. Though her screen time was limited, her character helped expand the show's world beyond the household, adding a more mature and sophisticated female presence that contrasted with the family's everyday dynamics. Behind her later television career, Rosemary's early life was shaped by a transatlantic upbringing between Canada and the United States. She moved to New York at a young age after her parents separated, growing up mainly under the care of her mother. That early instability pushed her toward performance and modeling, where she found both confidence and structure. This path eventually led her into acting studies and early work in television, laying the foundation for her Hollywood breakthrough. Her personal life was marked by multiple marriages, each reflecting different stages of her evolving career. She was first married to actor Michael Tolan, then later to Ron Waranch, followed by Alan Skip Horwitz, and eventually to actor Robert Euro, with whom she remained until his passing in 2020. These relationships often overlapped with periods of career transition as she moved from leading film roles in the 1960s into more steady but less prominent television work, creating both emotional and professional adjustments. In her later years, Forsythe also faced the natural health challenges of aging, though no major long-term illness defined her final decades. She gradually stepped away from acting in the early 2000s, choosing a quieter life outside Hollywood while maintaining her privacy. This retreat from public life reflected a full-circle shift from early fame to a more peaceful and private existence. Rosemary Forsythe is 83 years old and is now retired from acting. She is no longer active in the entertainment industry, with her final appearances coming in the early 2000s. With an estimated net worth of around $2 million, her legacy remains defined by her early success as a 1960s film actress and her long transition into television, including her role as Louise Marie Gilbert in Mr. Belvedere, which reflected her later career shift into more grounded adult character portrayals. Miriam Byrd Nethery as Ethel Miriam Byrd Nethery was born on May 17, 1929, in Louisville, Arkansas, USA. At 56 years old, she played Ethel, a neighbor woman in Mr. Belvedere, appearing in a small but memorable capacity within the Owens family's everyday environment. Even in limited screen time, her performance added texture to the show's world, giving life to the background characters that made the sitcom feel more realistic and lived in. Behind that brief appearance on television, Miriam's early life was shaped by a modest upbringing in rural Arkansas, where she grew up in a large family with limited resources. Like many performers of her generation, she did not come from privilege, and her path into acting required persistence and patience rather than early opportunity. That quiet determination eventually led her into character acting, where she built a career portraying unusual and often intense supporting roles in film and television, including Bound for Glory, 1976, and later Leatherface, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. Her personal life was closely tied to the acting world through her marriage to actor Clu Gulager. Together, they built a family that included their sons John and Tom Gulager, both of whom later worked in the entertainment industry. Their long relationship was marked by mutual support, especially during the difficult periods of her career when she was not in leading roles and often worked in smaller, less stable acting jobs. In her later years, Miriam faced a serious and prolonged health struggle, battling cancer for many years. The illness gradually became more severe, eventually developing into a brain tumor that affected her vision. Despite these challenges, she continued acting whenever her health allowed, showing a strong commitment to her craft even as her physical condition declined. Miriam Byrd Nethery passed away on January 6, 2003, in Los Angeles at the age of 73, after a long battle with a brain tumor. She left behind an estimated net worth of around $500,000. Her legacy remains defined by her steady presence in character roles across film and television, where even her small appearance as Ethel, the neighbor woman in Mr. Belvedere, reflected a lifelong dedication to acting through hardship, typecasting, and illness. The cast of Mr. Belvedere, 1985. Then and Now took us from a lighthearted family sitcom into real-life stories filled with fame, struggle, transformation, and loss. So when you look back at the Owens family and those around them, How many of these faces would you have recognized today? And did you ever imagine the lives they would go on to live after the cameras stopped rolling? If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more unforgettable Hollywood stories.